Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews, where we explore the world of fountain pens, ink, and paper. And today, it's another pen day. And I know it seems like I say that a lot. They keep coming out with all different kinds of models and different filling mechanisms and all that kind of good stuff. And that's a good problem to have, trying to keep up. So today we're going to look at the Asvine V126. V is for vac-filled. This is another vac-filled pen with kind of a classic look, somewhat familiar. We'll get into that in the design overview. But really beautiful amber color to this acrylic, and there's some other options as well. But there's always the big questions. How well does that vac filling mechanism work? How well is that pen going to write? Is the nib smooth, scratchy, or whatever? So let's spin the camera and take a look. All right, when you get your Asvine pen, it comes in a box like this, containing a box like this. And when you open it up, you get an instruction manual like this, containing information like this, which I really appreciate because they do a good job illustrating and explaining how to use their pens. And of course, contact information should you have a problem with your pen, although I've never had to use that myself. In that box is the Asvine V126, and I really do like this color. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, I can't believe James didn't get the blue pen. The blue looks like it would be really, really good, and if you're into kind of a frosted clear, they have that as well. But I don't know, this pen just kind of called to me when I saw the color. The acrylic is done very nicely. I think the gold trim complements it well. On the blue pen, I would actually prefer silver trim, but that's not offered. And if you just look at the quality here, it may be hard to catch. You can see, looking at this, that it's just made well. The acrylic looks really nice. There's a nice depth to that look, and hopefully that comes through on the camera. The design is a classic look, and of course people are going to say, well, that looks like A, B, or C, and of course it does, because A, B, C, D, E, and F pens all have shapes just like this, whether they're German or Japanese or other Chinese pens. It's just a common torpedo-shaped pen, and you know, there are only so many ways to make a common torpedo-shaped pen, so it is going to look somewhat familiar. The clip is a Pilot-esque clip. It has that ball on the end that goes over shirt pocket material easily, and I appreciate that. And it just functions well. Simple acrylic finial at the top, which again I think looks really good. This gold tone trim, and then the band around the center, which says Asvine on one side and the model number V126 on the other. Again, V is for vacuum fill. So Asvine has gone with the nomenclature that lets you know what the pen does. So P for piston, V for vac. I kind of appreciate the clarity there. Although it's no mystery when you get to the barrel exactly how this pen fills, because you can see all the action, which makes a pen like this so cool. You get down to that knob, which you simply turn and then pull. I'm going to take the cap off to do this. And then when you press it in, that pushes all the air out. And then if you're not familiar, when it gets to this widened spot in the pen, that allows air to come in because a vacuum has been formed behind the piston and it draws in the ink. I'll show you that here in just a second. All right, and let's talk about that nib. It is a number 6 in that lovely gold tone color that does offset the amber honey-colored pen very, very well. Now, I really like their medium nib because my experience with them has been so good. So I'm looking forward to writing with this pen. So far, I haven't had a dud, and I hope this won't be one either, and I certainly don't expect it to be because of past experience. But as you know, past performance is no guarantee of future results. So stay tuned for the writing test. Plastic feed. This does unscrew. This is a nib unit, and Asvine and Moonman units are interchangeable, so that does give you some extra options. You can also easily remove the grip section. For cleaning, makes that nice and easy. You find your silicone O-rings accessible here, and I suggest putting some silicone grease on these threads and O-rings. I always do that before filling a pen like this, just to make sure those seals are good, since that is how this pen operates. At this end, you can use the appropriate wrench to unscrew that and clean the pen even further should you need to. Overall, I think this is just a really good looking pen. The craftsmanship looks really good. It is polished well, turned well, and really, from a looks department, is a lot of bang for the buck. All right, ink today is going to be Noodler's ink in golden brown. And thank you again to the kind supporter of the channel who sent this anonymously a while back. And I thought it would be a great match to the acrylic today. All right, you put it down in the ink, press that down, and it just fills right up. All right, time for a size comparison. This is the V126 from Asvine next to a Lamy Safari and the Wingsung 699, another vac-filled pen in brown, and the Asvine 169, the first vac-filled pen from Asvine that is also an excellent pen and an excellent writer. And here are their pens in their unposted lengths. And here are the pens in their posted lengths. The 169, of course, does not post. All right, the pen does post securely and well. The pen feels great in the hand and is really just a nice size. And again, it's a familiar size and shape. So, of course, these are kind of known dimensions, tried and true. All right, just first line writes really well. That's good to know. You can tell a lot about a pen even in just one line, although I really like to write with one for a few weeks and really kind of get to know and break it in. But first impressions, quite good. I think that flow is quite good. Let's do our speed test. Every now and then I forget, but I especially like to do this on one with a less common filling mechanism and a brand new first impression pen. So let's do the speed test. This will be in real time. Good. This was me. I lifted. I felt it. I don't see any other... I don't think. Can't tell if that's one or not. I think it just gets real light there. So that could be the pen or that could be me. But overall, it looks like the flow is really quite good. These are the vertical lines. Side to side. Diagonal. That was just with very light pressure. This is going to be just a typical stiff nib. I don't know. Let's see. This is just no pressure. As medium pressure and as much as I would want to give it. Not a lot of difference. I guess there's a slight, just a very slight bounce, but it's slight, very slight. I would expect to treat this like it doesn't have any, but really a nice smooth writing nib. And now it's time for the dad joke of the day. All right. Groans are for free. What do I think about the pen? Positives and negatives, anything I would change? Well, first, I think I've said it already. Really well-made pen. Nice and smooth, good flow. The nib is working great. I like that nib unit is interchangeable, of course, with their other pens, but also with Moonman as well. Even though I may not take advantage, I do like having those options. Easy to maintain pen. This type of pen to me is one that has an advantage not just of the increased ink capacity, but also just the fact that they really are generally pretty easy to maintain and keep clean. So don't be intimidated if you've never had a vac-filled pen. They're really easy pens to deal with and good reliable pens as long as you maintain them well. Anything I would change? Maybe if there was one thing, it would be that I would appreciate it if a wrench for maintaining the pen had come with the pen, and I had, that's kind of like the converter thing. I just think if a pen requires a wrench, it ought to come with one. I realize that collectors will end up with too many wrenches that way. However, those of you who aren't collectors but just want a nice pen like this, and maybe it's the only one you're going to have, the wrench ought to be thrown in. But they can be found online, and so there is that. But I really wish they would just be thrown in that box every time the way that TWSBI does. I appreciate that about them. All right, that's my review of the Asvine 126, another excellent pen from Asvine. And if you found this pen interesting, I would encourage you check out the Asvine 169 as well, and that review is here on the channel. God bless you and have a great week.